Hello, everyone. It's Friday, June 5th, 2020. Welcome to episode 15 of the Ginger and the Beard podcast. What's up, guys? It's AJ, aka the Ginger.
And I'm Reese, aka The Beard.
And on this week's show, we've got so much UFC news, fight previews, and more to cover, as well as other topics to cover in the worlds of tech, video games, and more.
But before we dig in to all of that, how was your week, sir?
It was good, man. It's been a crazy week in the world, as we're going to get into here in a few minutes. So we'll definitely just acknowledge that. But my week otherwise was pretty good. Still working from home. A little bit of unsettling news. Found out my wife has to go back to work next week. Transitioning into full time. So that's a little not so great. But I mean, I guess the time is kind of coming. We're in phase 2 officially here in Virginia, starting today. So I mean, this is what we're going to see, man. People kind of transitioning back. So that means also kids transitioning back into school, which is going to be bittersweet for sure. I'll be sitting at home still trying to get some work done and be a little bit more productive without them here, but also I'll miss them so dearly. It's been kind of nice getting to bond with my kids on a whole new level, as well as my wife. So that'll be an interesting transition back. But how about you, man? How was your week?
It's pretty good. Kind of the same thing, just the world's pretty crazy right now. I've been trying to talk to my bosses because they want us all to go back into the office as well. And it's like, I'm in, we're in the same state, but my part of the state's still phase 1, right? But they're kind of like, our company's treating us like we're in phase 2 as well. They're trying to get a bunch of people back into the office. I personally don't feel comfortable with it yet.
Yep.
On a lighter note, I put up gutters on my shed.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. Congratulations.
Yeah, hey, just the little wins, right? The little wins here and there. That's the good stuff.
Absolutely, man. It is the small things in life. You got to come to appreciate these things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We also set it up so that it catches water, right? So I think I told you about this, but we have one of those like water catchers basically. So the way that I did it is I ran some additional gutters basically so that it funnels into this like 55-gallon like water catching thing that has a spout on it. So yeah, a little nifty, right?
Nice. Recycling. You're recycling, man. Repurposing.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
And you have a compost. So you're just like, you could live off the land if you wanted to.
Yeah, the garden's coming along. We're getting there. All I need now is solar panels.
There you go.
Oh, dude, I totally want those. Have you thought about doing solar panels?
No, I think I've been given some advertisements on my doors. They've left some like flyers and things like that. And it's like, hey, it pays for itself in like 15 years. I'm like, well, I probably won't be in this house for that long, so maybe my next house I'll consider that.
Yeah, there should be a little bit lower of a barrier to entry, right? I feel like it shouldn't be that
definitely
expensive. You know?
Yeah,
everybody should have them. It should be government mandated. Do it. No, don't do it.
Free energy, why not? It's free energy.
If it's there, why not make it free? Anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess before we jump into our main topics of the show, as we mentioned here at the beginning, there is definitely a lot going on in the world, and we would be remiss not to mention that and at least shed a little bit of our thoughts and opinions on that. And I know both of us kind of have some of those. It's been a weird time. It's an uncomfortable situation for everybody. It's a hard thing to talk about. I'm sure everyone knows somebody that's affected by everything going on in some form or fashion. I've got people that I work with who are affected by it, and I'm just hoping that we can kind of all come together to support one another. And I know that you had some thoughts on it, so I guess you and I kind of talked about this a little bit before the show, and my kind of stance on it, and my takeaway from the whole thing has really been, I hope that everyone kind of takes this opportunity to sort of just reflect on, your own personal life and how you treat others, and just make sure that in every interaction, no matter who the person is, no matter the color of their skin, just treat everyone. Obviously, it's the golden rule. It's like going back to when you're in kindergarten. It's just treat others how you wish to be treated. Treat people with respect, kindness, love each other, support each other. And so there's a lot of people out there. I mean, Virginia Beach, I'm sure up where you're at, it's been tons of protests and things like that. Even if you're not out there on the streets, it's just important to kind of support others who are out there and trying to make a difference.
Yeah, dude, I agree 100%. Be nice, be kind to each other. I think that's like a basic kind of human right that everybody should be treated fairly and with kindness. You know, I think that everybody needs to educate. You need to self-educate. You know, if you don't know what's going on in the world right now, then I recommend you start looking. You know, take 3 hours one night, just start looking up what's going on. You know, I also recommend you look at what's happened in the past, 50, 60, 70 years ago. What was going on back then? Okay. And how bad was it back then? And why hasn't it been corrected at this point in time? Why are we seeing the things on TV that we are seeing today? I'm not being specific. I don't need to be. Everybody's seen it. Okay. I think that it's in all our best interest, everybody's best interest, to get educated and do what's right. I think it should be obvious what's right. So, yeah, do the right thing, get educated, help the people that need the help. That's how I feel.
Absolutely. Yeah, and speaking of just getting educated, one thing that in any kind of situation, regardless of if it's about racism, if it's about politics, one thing that I've come to learn, and as being someone who typically stays I don't really follow politics that closely and things like that, is like, you just can't always take things at face value. So just remember that too. Like, if you see one thing on one news outlet, you might want to do some research, as the Beard mentioned. Do some research for yourself too. Don't just take everything at face value, what people are telling you and what you're hearing from others, because there's sometimes stories behind the story that we're not being told, and the press and the media, even though we can kind of consider ourselves a little bit of media, is not always out there just to do the right thing. There's a lot of agendas behind things, but just be careful, and as you mentioned, just educate yourself, and at the end of the day, just show support, love each other, and just be kind. That's kind of what it boils down to.
Yeah, there's some great resources out there, and if you guys are interested, you can reach out to me directly, and I can point you in the right direction. I'm not gonna, kind of reference them here, but there's influencers that, kind of lead certain communities, and those are the folks that can lead you in the right direction, show you the education, teach you guys what you need to know, what isn't taught, what isn't shown on TV, what isn't, that shock value that they like to show on TV. So,
oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. I think that's good enough. I just hope for the best outcome for everyone, certainly, and the people that have been let down by the system, more so than the majority. Anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah. So with that, I think it's time we should move into something a little bit lighter and kind of unwind from this crazy week, as we tend to do. But before we do that, I just want to throw a little plug out there. We're trying to grow this show, guys. So before we go any further, if you guys like what you see here, or maybe have suggestions of how we can improve, make sure you follow us. Give us a follow on all the channels, on Twitch, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter. And just reach out to us. We like to engage with you guys. We're here to have a good time and to meet other like-minded individuals and interact with you guys and just kind of grow a community, So if you could give us that support and encouragement and interaction, we'd absolutely appreciate that. But as we start every show, Mr. Beard, what are you drinking tonight, sir?
I'm pretty excited about this one. So I don't know if I'm saying it right. It's a mountain range in Utah. It's UNITA. I think it's UNITA. And so it's UNITA Brewing Company. It's called Baba black lager. It's been out for a while, but I had never seen it before. So I ordered some beer the other night from Whole Foods, right? So you can do the Whole Foods stuff on Amazon. So I got a
Oh
couple
yeah.
different ones. This was one of them that looked very interesting. Um, and so just to give you guys a little bit of a rundown, um, it's a German source beer. Now it says black lager on here, but it's technically a German source beer. It's the company's based out of Utah. 4%. So like a black lager like this, right? 4% ABV. That's kind of odd. You would think that this would be a little bit heavier, but it's
Yeah.
not.
Right.
Yeah, 32 IBUs. Described as being robust and smooth, full flavored lager, and it's exceptionally drinkable with a pitch black color. So let's test that real quick. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and
Pitch
pour
black.
this.
Pitch black.
Let's see if it truly is pitch black and exceptionally drinkable.
Can't wait. Yeah, you sent me a
Yes,
picture of this a few days ago, and I was like, "Does this mean you got beer? You finally got some beer?"
yes, sir. Got
I'm
some
so
beer.
excited
Let's.
for you.
I am kind of worried though. Like I'm like right over my keyboard. The way that my camera is
Oh,
kind
don't
of.
do it.
Maybe I should just come back here and do it. You
Just
know.
slide back. Just be safe, man.
Yeah, we're gonna be safe. You guys can see it still.
I've learned my lesson.
Anybody listening in their car or at home that doesn't see the video, you guys can look it up, and see this fabulous pour. So the head looks pretty
Oh,
nice.
it's
Pretty
very nice
uniform.
head.
Nice color to it. Oh, definitely pitch black. This looks like
Oh
oil.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Mmm.
okay, looks good. Looks good. The bubbles look pretty good. I mean, I think it could be a little bit better, but let's give it a sip. Mm. Okay.
I love the sound effects. I can imagine people listening to this in their car.
Yeah, malty, toasty, coffee, caramel. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good one, dude. Definitely recommend this. You guys should
All
definitely try
right.
this out. This is like a fall beer, not like a winter beer. It's like when
Yeah.
it's like a warmer fall day. This reminds me of like a warmer fall day, I feel like. Nice, easy drinking. You could drink a couple of these and be good. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, at 4%. A nice flavorful beer at 4%. That's a good find.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. So, um I've done mine. What are you drinking, sir?
All right. Well, I've got also a lager, but not a black lager. This one here I've got from a local. I think I've had an O'Connor on the show before, but this is from O'Connor. It's based out of
Ooh.
Norfolk, Virginia. A proper lager. I wish I could do an Irish accent, but I just can't. Even though I seem like I probably should be able to do one, considering I'm a ginger. But yeah, proper lager from O'Connor. It's I've had these before. It's kind of what you would expect from a light beer. It's 4.7% ABV. The description they give on the site is brewed with 100% malt. Our Hell style lager showcases a brilliant golden hue and exceptional clarity. The balanced yet complex malty character presents a subtle, fruity, floral. Oh, I love alliteration. Hop bouquet with a drinkability that is sure to complement all occasions. And that kind of is
Okay.
true. Like I had this and I'm like, this is just an everyday sort of beer. Like, I got it in this nice 16-ounce can. I've been a big fan of these 16-ounce cans lately. It's just the right amount, I feel like. So you don't have to drink two. You can just drink one and be good to go. But it's
Nice.
just an easy drinking beer. It's kind of like I don't really want to compare it to like a Bud Light or something like that. But it's a better alternative to that diluted water you buy in big cardboard boxes.
Absolutely.
So let me slide on back here, guys, because my keyboard, which we're going to talk about later in the show, has finally made a recovery from the
Woo!
last beer incident. So
Yay.
yeah, whoop, whoop. Let me slide on back here.
That can, by the way, there's something about that can, the minimalism of it, that seems like very appealing to the eye for some reason. I'm not sure what it is.
Yes,
Look at
I'm
that.
not coming. I'm not coming any closer than this, but very nice, very nice head here. Definitely clear. It's very light. So let's go ahead and just give it a sipsies.
Looks refreshing.
It is. It is refreshing indeed. And for these days where we've had back-to-back 90-degree weather, this is definitely a good outdoor hot weather beer. And that's exactly what we need. So really good. I mean, like I said, it's not, your IPA. It's not your black lager or porter or things like that. Super flavorful beers, but very smooth and consistent, and just a nice alternative to other light beers out there in the stores.
Nice.
So check them out.
Bravo. You want to hit them with that screenshot action?
Oh yeah. I'm like, wait, what are you talking about?
Just
All right,
put
here we
them
go.
up. Put them up.
Do it for the gram. Boom. Screenshot. For you audio listeners. I actually think our audio listening population is actually starting to grow a little bit. So for you guys who are listening at work or in your car, we every episode hold up our beers and stay still, statuesque almost. So we can grab a screenshot later.
A little awkward, but that's okay.
Yeah. For the live viewers, it's a little weird, but it's okay.
Yeah.
All right, man. What else we got in the beer world?
We do have a little bit of news. I did want to show one more thing, and I know we keep like showing things on stream. I feel bad for the listeners that aren't watching the video portion of this. So I'll make this part quick. Budweiser, and I'll show it as I'm talking about it. Here you guys can see it. They're coming out with a new can to celebrate the fact that folks are returning to work, right? So they're adding this one team. It's called One Team Specialty Can. It's to welcome back the employees, kind of get people back. So great, good
cool.
for them. Good for them recognizing the employees and saying, "Hey guys, bravo." I don't know, it's a nice gesture. I mean, good for them. It's going to be on the 16-ounce cans, so you guys will probably start seeing those come out very, very soon, probably in the next month or two. I didn't see a date, but just I would assume if they're going back to the factories, then they're going to be pushing them out
Relatively soon. Yeah. It'd be really cool is if they would have like produced a special edition like beer with like a crazy cool label or something that only employees that had access to. Like they gave them each a case of this like super limited edition beer.
Oh yeah,
that'd be pretty cool. Like it's almost like memorabilia at that point. But
oh dude, I am so on board with that. That would have more value. Or if they just gave a case of this to everybody, like something.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not trying to poo-poo it. I think it was
no.
nice
I think it's cool. I think it's definitely a really cool effort.
Yeah,
good on them.
Yeah. Good on them for sure. Besides that, Silver Moon. So this is something that I wish I had in my area, and I would assume anybody that drinks beer and is interested in craft beer would love to have in their area. So in Central Oregon, Silver Moon Brewing has announced that they're going to do this take-home brew fest. So usually they have a local brew fest, and multiple different breweries, cideries all show up, to showcase their latest and greatest. But, with COVID, of course, it makes things challenging. So what they did instead is they have these cases, 18 beers, all different beers and ciders, and you can buy them. They're going to have 1,000 tickets, and basically everybody's going to pick one up, and then on June 23rd and 24th, they'll do like it'll be like a virtual like tasting session where you get to like interact with people and learn about their beers and learn about the beer. I don't know. The ciders as well, So I think that's a amazing idea. I almost want to just reach out to my local breweries and be like, "Hey, guys, I don't know what kind of money you're making right now, but this is a great opportunity for you guys to get out there and advertise." So, yeah, what do you think about that?
No. I love that idea, man. I'm all about. I'm 100% in with variety packs. Shayna, my wife, bought me a variety pack from. Was it Smartmouth or was it O'Connor? I can't remember. It was one of those two. Anyways, the local brewery did variety packs, and it came with like 12 different beers. And I just love having. It was O'Connor because this was one of them actually. It had like three. It had 4 different beers, 3 of each, so 12 beers total. I just love trying new stuff. So it's kind of been a bummer during this whole COVID situation that I haven't been able to, or I have now, but haven't really been going into like Wegmans and Total Wine and stuff like that and building my own 6-packs, because that's how you really get to experience different beers and
right.
kind of grow your palate and figure out what you actually like, So, I mean, that's an amazing idea. You get 18 different beers and ciders to try, and then while you're trying them, be able to interact with people virtually and learn about them. So that's super cool, man. Yeah, I
Oh
agree with you.
yeah.
That'd be cool if some of our local breweries were to do the same thing.
Maybe I just need to get out there and put it all together. Be the
Hey,
be the be the guy.
the ginger and the beard virtual beer fest.
Hey, that's not a bad idea.
Hey,
You know,
we might
that's
should write
really
that one
not a bad
down.
idea. No, we
Write
should
that one down.
definitely write that one down. That could be
Yeah.
something in the future. You know,
Well, it's
set up.
recorded on video, so
Yeah. Just write down the episode number. We'll be good.
Yeah.
Well, sir, that was my beer news. I'm ready to talk about some UFC. You ready for this transition?
I am too. Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right, be right back. Hey, hey,
Hello.
hey!
Hello,
Is your jaw loosened up for this? Are you?
Oh, let's get ready. Let's get ready. Let's do some
you-
Henry Cejudo action.
Ah,
Oh, that's. I feel like
I
we're
think
good.
I'm
feel like
ready.
we're
I
good.
think I'm ready.
Stretched
I'm
out.
warmed up. Warmed up.
Oh
I
wait,
can
let me
take
grab
these
this
punches.
let me grab this Vaseline and put it on my face really quick. So just get all slippy slidey.
Oh, now you're definitely ready. Now you're definitely ready. Just we're good now. Got our gloves on. We're ready to talk about some UFC shenanigans, man. I'm ready.
Oh man, we got so much news. We moved UFC Shenanigans to the top of the show. Well, following beer news, of course, because we have so much news to talk about, and this is where we end up spending most of our time, anyways. So you'll see. You guys give us some feedback. Let us know if you like this UFC at the top, and if not, you can just skip chapters on the YouTube video, as long as you remember to put chapters on there.
I didn't see
All
that
right,
yet.
so-
I didn't see that functionality yet, but we'll figure it out.
Oh, really? Oh, man, we have to check back at that. All right. So let's start, shall we, with last week's fight night.
Oh my god! I almost wait. Did you just say? Did you just say you fell asleep? Oh, Oh, you didn't fall. Okay. Okay, my bad.
I could have easily fallen asleep. If I didn't have a show to produce and put together, I could have absolutely fallen asleep. So
Man.
I guess you could call that a fight. So headlined by Tyron Woodley versus Gilbert Burns. The Beard, give us your thoughts, man. What did you think about that?
Ah man, it's just a really weird thing. Bravo to Gilbert, dude. Gilbert went out there. He had a goal. He followed his game plan. He did it fantastic. He looked like a championship fighter, and everybody, I think, agrees that, he did what he had to do. But kind of like this almost actually like brings his performance down a little bit. Is Woodley? Yes, he was a champion. He didn't look like a champ. He hasn't looked like a champion in his last like 4 or 5 fights, in my opinion. I don't think he's been
Yeah.
doing anything. I don't think he deserves to get the recognition that he got. Shout out, he's cool, man. He's got a lot of different stuff going on in his life. He's busy and everything. That's great, man. That's awesome. But
Right.
if you're going to talk all that smack and then you come out there, you throw 25 punches
Oh my
and
gosh.
and you get pushed up against the back of the cage and you get, beat up basically. It was
so
just
deep.
so one-sided, man. So one-sided.
Yeah, it really was. I was like, it described it as like a deer in headlights, man. Like no action whatsoever. I saw this. I think it actually came from another MMA UFC focused podcast. They posted something on Instagram. I'm trying to think of their show name. I'll have to look it up so I can give them a shout out. But they posted something on Instagram, and it was like a PS2 controller or a PS3 controller, and it was like Tyron Woodley's game or something like that. And literally every single button was either haymaker, overhand right, or
Yeah.
back up against the cage. That was all it was. There was
That's
no
all
other
he's
options.
done. That's all he's been doing.
It's like he comes out in the first round and he's waiting for that, and he's looking for that knockout punch, that highlight punch. But I'm like, dude, you got to work for that, man. These are professional fighters that are looking for. They know you're famous for your, what do they call it, the equalizer or the something like that. I don't know.
I think it's the equalizer,
His overhand right that's so famous or whatever. And it's just crazy, man. Like what are you waiting on? I've never seen somebody with that high level of MMA fighting not even throw a jab, not even a single jab. He just waiting for that overhand right and is backing up to the cage. So
I just
yeah,
I just don't think he deserves like that level of recognition that he got, man.
right,
The
right.
the skill was just not there. So he needs to go back to the drawing table. Like you said, you can't just rely on one skill set where it's just an overhand right hook. He needs to be able to set those up. Fake some takedowns, whatever you got to do. I
Exactly.
hope
Yeah.
I hope that he comes back with a little bit more strategy and can put things together better for his next fight. Or if he's not going to do that, I don't want to see him fight anymore. It's so boring.
It really is boring, man. And I feel bad for the guys who come out there and they're expecting like a big brawl. Like Gilbert Burns or Kamaru Usman. I mean, like it's like they're fighting a dude that's sleepwalking. It seems boring for them as well. So, like we talk about what's next for Tyron Woodley. There's talks of him fighting Colby Covington. So again, we're talking at a super aggressive fighter. Is he just gonna freeze up again? If that fight actually happens, what's he gonna do? What's his game plan gonna be? It's just like when he gets in front of these aggressive fighters, he just doesn't know how to handle it anymore, which is kind of, and they describe him as like a counter puncher, a counter fighter. But I didn't see any counter action whatsoever. So, it's interesting.
Yeah, dude. He's got to work on it for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to give him any more thought because he doesn't deserve it at this point. I don't think.
Yeah. So what about for Gilbert Burns? I mean, I was pretty impressed with his game plan. He was pretty impressive. So, I mean, what's next for him?
I I actually I'm a little bit torn here, right? Because he's just kind of like appeared out of nowhere, and I don't know if like he deserves it over some of the other guys. Like, think about it, man. Jorge Masvidal has been doing this for so long, and he's been told for like 2 years now. Oh, you're gonna get the title fight next. He won that badass belt or whatever, and
Yep.
it's like he kind of deserves it. So, uh, if they're gonna give it to Gilbert, shame on the UFC. I feel like Jorge gets it. But at the same token, Gilbert Burns, he really performed. I just think he needs to fight. Maybe he needs to fight Jorge Masvidal, and then they go for the champion. Or Jorge fights Usman, and then however that comes,
Right.
whoever wins that one fights Gilbert. It's just that, come on. This
Yeah,
whole like
it's
jumping
too
up
early.
so soon it's not fair. It's not fair.
It's not at all. And I think it's all coming back to money. And speaking of Jorge and the potential title fight, he's the first person we're going to talk about in the show tonight who's
Yeah.
wanting to tear up his contract essentially with the UFC. So he's all over social right now he's saying drop me from my contract. If you're not going to pay me what I deserve to be paid, then I'm gone. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I think that all of the UFC fighters are significantly underpaid. I think that it's unfair to them. The level of risk that they're taking on to go out and do this, they're not being compensated nearly enough. Compared to like other sports athletes out there that get paid millions of dollars and aren't taking nearly as much risk, aren't going to experience the same diseases, maybe not diseases, but same disabilities. Disabilities is the right word. Later on in life, um, so I respect Jorge Masvidal. If they don't pay him, then yeah, he should leave. He should go somewhere else. There should be a little bit more competition for these fighters out there to go to another
Yeah, I agree.
promotion that's going to pay them more and treat them fair, protect them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got a lot of other promotions out there that is clearly not as large as UFC. You've got ONE FC, you've got things like that. So it would be interesting for sure. So
Yeah.
you want to go ahead and move on to tomorrow's fight?
Yeah, let's talk about UFC 250. You know, uh, I'm not that excited about it. There's like two fights that I'm pretty excited about. I'm gonna let you go ahead and take us through the main card, though. Go ahead and take us for the main card.
Okay, cool. So we'll start from the bottom of the main card and work our way up. And to be honest, some of these fighters, I don't know a ton about some of these, but there are definitely some big names on the card. So number one, the first fight on the main card is Sean O'Malley versus Eddie Wineland.
Yeah.
Obviously, Sugar Sean O'Malley, he's always exciting to watch. Recently came back from, this will be his second fight back since the suspension.
Yep.
And his first fight was a pretty dominant display. I think it was a first round knockout. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah.
And I'm having a hard time remembering who that was against. I'll have to look that up. But yeah, exciting. He's undefeated, so exciting to see him come back. But he's coming back against a guy with a lot more experience than him. Eddie Wineland with 24 wins, 13 losses. Sean with 11 professional fights.
He's very skilled, man. They're expecting big things for him. Eddie
Mm-hmm.
Wineland's, this might be controversial to say, but I kind of feel like he's like a gateway fighter. I don't think either of them are ranked right now. I think Sean O'Malley should certainly be ranked, at some level. I, you know, my vote, not my vote. My money is on Sean, right? My money's on Sean winning this, and I think we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna see more of him, dude. That whole mishap where he got suspended for 2 years, that's a bummer. But
It was weed, right?
no, it was a supplement. It was a supplement. It was a
I
tainted.
thought it was
It
weed.
was a tainted supplement that he couldn't prove was unintentional.
An accident.
Essentially,
Yeah, yeah.
it was an
All right.
accident. Excited to see him fight more. I don't really know anything about Eddie Wineland, other
I
than
don't either, to be honest.
yeah. I don't know if he's going to be a contender ever. That's all I got.
Right. All right, cool. So next, we got a welterweight matchup between a couple of, I think, pretty big names, Neil Magny and Anthony Rocco Martin. Two guys that
Oh
are
yeah.
extremely exciting to watch. Neil Magny's very technical. Anthony Rocco Martin, very explosive and dangerous. So that one is definitely going to be exciting. Anything from you on that one, or should we just keep moving up?
I'm right there with you, man. I'm not sure who to call on that fight. I think they're both very exciting fighters. I expect that fight to be very technical. I think that we're going to see some blood drawn. We're going to see a lot of punches. I don't know what their grappling game looks like. I think Rocco might have a advantage there, but I'm not sure. Yeah, so that one's a toss up. I'm not sure.
Yeah, definitely. Next up, we've got Aljamain Sterling versus Corey Sandhagen. Aljamain Sterling's another one of those guys. I think he's kind of underappreciated, so hopefully it'll be good to get him some more attention. But I'm looking at his record right now. This guy's got a serious win streak right now. He beat last year Jimmy Rivera as a decision in the third round. He beat Pedro Munoz. I don't know how to
Munoz,
pronounce his
yeah,
last name.
Munoz.
Munoz. He beat Brett Johns, Cody Stamen, and he beat I can't pronounce that guy's name either. Renan Barro, Augusto Mendez, and his last loss was in 2017 to Marlon Moraes. So,
Yeah.
not a huge shocker there. Marlon's an absolute monster. So I'm really excited to see Aljamain fight again. I remember the last fight I watched him. I was quite impressed with his performance and his output, just his high level of output. So that's gonna be exciting.
Yeah. I love how we haven't really talked about the other guy on this one at all.
I don't really know Corey Sandhagen, to be
I,
honest.
I don't either. I mean, he's 12-1, so that speaks for itself. Hopefully we'll know a little bit more about him after this. Aljamain Sterling, he's been a contender, man. He's been up there ready to fight for the belt for a long time now, and he actually kind of feels disrespected because they're giving Peter Yan the next title fight instead of him.
Mm,
And it's like
mm.
Aljamain's
Well,
been
that
doing it
guy's
for longer than him.
yeah. Well, Piltier's a freaking. I think he's a robot. To be honest with you, I don't think he's actually human.
I think he's going to be the next champion, but we'll see, right? I put
Yeah.
my money on that. So I think Aljamain's probably going to take this one, but maybe Corey Sandhagen will surprise me. We'll see.
Yeah, well, let's give just real quick. I looked it up. I mean, just full transparency here. We don't know every single fighter. That's kind of almost impossible. So, but looking it up right now, Corey Sandhagen, his last fight was in January of last year, so it's been a while since he fought. He beat Mario Bautista. He's also beaten John Lineker. Doesn't sound super familiar. Both at bantamweight, and he also beat Rafael Asuncion. So
Okay.
that's who actually Cody. Dang, what's the guy's name? He's fighting in the main card. Also,
Cody
those two
Garbrandt?
guys are actually, yeah, Cody
Cody
Garbrandt
Garbrandt?
and Rafael Asuncion are actually fighting in the same card. So they're the next fight we're actually talking about. So Cody Garbrandt hasn't fought since the last time he got knocked out, right?
Yeah, by
By
TJ. Or no,
by
no.
TJ.
No, it wasn't TJ. Wait, hold on. It wasn't TJ. I think he had another fight that he lost. I could be wrong.
Um,
I think he lost his last
yeah,
three fights.
Pedro
Munoz. Yeah,
Munoz, yeah.
right. Yeah, he got knocked out by Pedro. I forgot about
Lost to
that.
Pedro. That was in March of last year. He lost August of 2018 to TJ Dillashaw, which was a KO in round one.
Yep.
And then 2017, he also lost to
Against
TJ.
Exactly. So I think he's going to be looking for some redemption. Hopefully we'll see our best Cody Garbrandt yet. Hopefully he's made some recovery and he doesn't have an easy fight against Rafael Sunsao. Rafael Sunsao's got a lot of experience here, and he's a striker. I don't think he's going to have an easy time with this fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Cody is an interesting fighter, man. Like, he's got power for sure. It proves itself in his last few fights. Looking back, like, he's got a couple of knockouts, one at 48 seconds versus Takaya Mizukaki. I can't pronounce that guy's name either. 48-second knockout in the first round. But his last three fights that he's lost, he's also been knocked out. So I think there's some questions around, does he have the chin? So that's left to be seen.
And he lost to he lost to Corey Sandhagen, who's also on this. He lost to Corey Sandhagen in his last fight, so that's interesting. We'll see how this goes. They're both coming. Rafael Asuncion.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He just lost to Corey.
Losses.
Yeah, they're coming off multiple losses, so this is kind of like a redemption for both of them. Let's see how it goes. A lot on the line here, if they lose. So, if usually if fighters lose like 4 or 5 times in a row, they get cut. Yeah. So,
good
luck.
point.
Good luck to them.
All right.
So that brings us to the finale here.
Yeah, drum roll, please.
I don't have drums.
You guys probably can't hear that because I got a noise gate on.
I could hear it. I could hear it.
Oh, could you? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yes, Amanda Nunes versus Felicia Spencer. So, a lot to talk about here. A lot to kind of unpack. I guess we should go around. Let's just get it out the way. Let's make our picks. Who do you have in this fight?
I mean, if I had $500 in my pocket, I'd put it on Nunes. She's the GOAT, dude. She's the greatest of all time, in my opinion. I think she's, in my opinion, she's probably the best fighter of all time. She's just not getting that kind of recognition that she deserves.
Yeah, definitely. There's been so much time. I love this time I love this few days building up to fights because the UFC and all the media outlets put so much hype behind the fighters, and there's been a ton of stuff like on Instagram and stuff that are talking about, interviews of other fighters that she's, beat or whatever in the past. And they talk about how hard she actually hits. And like even some of the male fighters who she trains with talk about how hard she actually hits.
Right.
So there's no surprise that she's knocking people out left and right. So this will be interesting. I mean, her last fight, I think with Randamine de Jarmaine. I can't pronounce her name. I can't pronounce anybody's name.
Jermaine Durandamy. Jermaine. I'm sorry, Jermaine Durandamy. Yeah.
Yep. And my name is J.A. And not A.J. So, anyways.
Good one. Job.
Yeah. So that last fight went the distance. And she's fighting Felicia Spencer, a relative newcomer to the UFC. Only 3 fights in the UFC, with coming in after a 6-fight win streak in Invicta. So, right. I mean, obviously, I agree with you. I think Nunes takes this one. Will it be an easy knockout? I don't know. We are talking featherweight here, so this is the larger of the classes. So, I mean, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but the chin should be there for Felicia Spencer. Talking about Amanda Nunes here, though, so you never know what could happen. Um,
We have a stylistic
uh,
matchup, right? Where you have a
yeah,
striker, where you have a heavy striker, but also a grappler versus a heavy uh, BJJ practitioner. So it's. I don't know if Felicia's going to have the striking that. I mean, she's not going to have the striking that Nunes has. She's not going to have the power,
no.
right? There's no way. We haven't seen that out of her. But we might see her take Amanda to the ground, where Amanda has lost on the ground. So we'll see.
And she is very strong. Felicia is very strong on the ground. I'm not sure if you had watched it, but when she fought Megan Anderson, which if you guys don't know is Megan Anderson's extremely tall for the division. She's like I think one of the tallest female fighters in the UFC. Extremely strong, and when I saw those two paired up together, I was like, okay, Megan's 100% taking this one home. Also a
Yeah.
great ground fighter. And Felicia, I think, choked her out. I think she won by submission, which is extremely surprising given that Megan Anderson's just sheer length, like her the length of her legs, you'd think would be the advantage. But I will say
Yeah.
Felicia Spencer, just having watched her, I feel like her strength is a great match for Amanda Nunes. So the two of them extremely strong and powerful. I mean, it could be an interesting fight at the end of the day.
I'm excited for it. I'm excited anytime we have a UFC event. So, yeah.
Again, another fight at the Apex Arena. Any thoughts on how that looked when you watched last week's fight?
It's kind of weird, isn't it? They're in such a small room, and it's like, we're talking a large production here, multiple millions of dollars, in the mix.
Yeah,
And they're just in a small little gym room, like your high school gymnasium almost, kind of.
yeah.
And you can hear what everyone's saying.
Oh my gosh.
It's weird. It's weird.
I noticed last week when they DC like purposefully quieted himself down. He's like, he's got to take the leg. He's got to go. He's got to reach for this. And he's like, oh, he's got to reach for the leg. He's got to.
They were listening to him. Yeah.
He's like, oh, God. He keeps remembering that they can hear everything he says.
Taking advice.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I think we should move on from that because I realize we're already 43 minutes into this thing and we're in our first section. So, all right. We talked about Jorge Masvidal wanting to vacate his contract. The second fighter that we're going to talk about, it's the weekly Jon Jones update. Jon Jones is using his Twitter presence, his social presence, and calling to vacate his title and leave the UFC again because Dana doesn't want to shell out the big bucks and pay him what he wants to be paid. Your thoughts, sir?
Same as I said for Jorge Masvidal, man. These guys need to get paid for what they deserve. Dana said he was asking for $30 million, man. Give him $30 million. Dude, he's one of your breadwinners. Send him out there. Let him win bread for you.
I hadn't heard that number, but dang, that's a lot of money.
I know, man. We could have a whole podcast about what we would do with $30 million. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, yeah. Give him the money. That's how I feel about it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, 30 million is a lot. I didn't realize he was asking for that much money, but I agree with you. He is the number one breadwinner for the UFC. If I had to guess, between him and Connor, right?
Mm-hmm. Dude, Connor made over $100 million in one fight.
Right.
Think about that. Like, put that into perspective.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's a lot to think about for sure. I don't know what the UFC should do. I do think that Dana should be talking about this a little bit more. He's so nonchalant about it right now. He's just like, yeah, if you guys want to leave, whatever, go. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's not the right attitude to have about it, I feel like.
It's negotiation tactics. That's what they're doing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but I want to look at it from a different lens, though. So, let's just say Jon does vacate his title, the light heavyweight belt is out there for the taking. How do you feel? So obviously they'd make a matchup, maybe Thiago Santos versus Dominic Reyes. I mean, how do you feel? If you don't even get to fight Jon Jones, he's held the belt for so long, and you get the belt just by winning. How do you feel? I mean, like I almost think, sure, having the belt is great. but it's almost like you have to beat the boss. It's like the boss battle in the video game that you've been working so hard towards. And then it's like, oh, the boss is not here. So now just take this guy. If you beat this guy, sure, we'll give you the win.
I don't think Jon Jones should be the boss at this point in time. You know how I think I've told you how I feel.
That's true.
I think he lost his 2 last fights, man.
I agree with you, but don't you want that name under your belt? Don't you want to be the guy who took down Jon Jones officially? You put him out, you put him away, you didn't leave it up to the judges. You know, I don't know.
I see your point, but it's like, in reality, I don't think he should have the belt right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that Dana probably realizes, because like I'm pretty sure Dana scored that fight for Jon Jones as well. Like he said it in the post-fight press conference that he had Dominic winning 3-2. You know, so that probably plays into it as well, where it's like Dana sees that Jon Jones is on his way out. I think Jon Jones is on his way out, man.
Yeah, I gotta say, I would love to see that Ngannou fight though,
because Ngannou actually has the power. Oh man,
yeah.
Oh gosh, I want to see that fight too. Yeah.
Please, Dana. Everyone calls him Uncle Dana. Please, Uncle Dana.
Make it happen.
Just make that one fight happen, and then you can
this fight.
Just be done. Yeah.
Please.
All right. So really quick before we wrap up this section, Fight Island is a real thing. I'm not gonna spend a ton of time on this, but you guys know about Fight Island. If you don't, check it out. Look it up. It's a real thing. We've got some fights that are not yet confirmed through the UFC. But from reputable sources, it does look like there are some fights that have been locked down for Fight Island. So let's just run through these really quick. And they're back to back to back, right? So Rose Namajunas versus Jessica Andrade, rumored for July 11th. Kelvin Gastelum versus Jack Hermanson, rumored for July 18th. And Alexander Gustafsson versus Fabricio Verdum, July 25th. Back to back to back. All of those could definitely be pay-per-view events. So it's extremely exciting to see what could potentially happen with that. I can't wait to see the very first fight on Fight Island.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm right there with you, dude. I just want to see them like on the beach looking out at the shore. You know, it's going to be something else entirely. But anyway, are you ready to move on? Let's talk about some tech.
Let's do it. Talk about some tech news.
All right, guys, transitioning. Be right back. And we're back. We weren't gone for long. Hopefully you guys didn't miss us too much.
Hello. All right, let's kick this off. So mind if I take the jump?
Do it, sir.
All right, so I want to start with some personal tech news. I mentioned it towards the top of the show. The keyboard has made its glorious return. It is back in working action. It is beer-free. It looks so
nice. Look at
100% beer-free.
Glory.
The beer landed right in this area somewhere. So yeah, I had to disassemble this thing, take all the keys off, remove the switch or remove the board from the case, disconnect the battery. I had to I looked up a bunch of stuff, and Reese, you helped me out a lot actually too, but I talked to a lot of the guys who are part of the Keychron, who makes this keyboard, the support group and stuff on Facebook. And a lot of guys gave me some different advice. Some people said put it in the dishwasher. Some people said pour water in it. And I was just like, you guys are out of your freaking minds.
Wow.
But so what I ended up doing was just disconnecting the battery from it and squirting super hot water into the switches that were affected by the sticky beer, and just working the keys over and over and over and over. That ended up not working. The water wasn't enough to dissolve the sticky residue. So somebody else gave me the recommendation to use isopropyl alcohol, which is essentially just rubbing alcohol, and which I had in the cabinet. So squirt that into the same switches, just work it repeatedly, like 100 presses each key, and just let it dry. And eventually, I mean, the stick was still just barely noticeable, right? So I was like, you know what, I think it's good enough. I put the keys back on it, and I can't even notice it when I use the keys. The sound's not affected. The feel's not affected. The keyboard works flawlessly. So yes. I'm happy and excited to announce it's made a full recovery. Thank goodness.
Dude, I'm so happy for you. That's awesome.
Thank goodness. Yes.
What a dreadful feeling. It was, 2 weeks without a keyboard, basically?
Yeah. How long? It may have been like 3 weeks. But I mean, fortunately, I had a backup mechanical keyboard too,
but
thankfully.
without your favorite keyboard.
Without my favorite brand new keyboard that I had for like 2 weeks.
I know, I know. Oh man, well it's good now. That's awesome, man. I'm happy.
Yes. So next up, I found this story. I thought it was kind of interesting, just in the world we live in today, with all this work from home and virtual teams and things like that. Slack, as you guys have most likely heard of, is probably the most widely used team collaboration chat platform on the market. Is teaming up with Amazon in what we would describe as a mutually beneficial partnership. Number one, Amazon employees will be using Slack. So think about how many Amazon employees there are. It's yet to be announced how many of their employees will be using it, but Slack's making a killing off of that, number one. They're returning the favor, however, by agreeing to use AWS, which is Amazon Web Services, for their compute power, their machine learning, their security, and more. And then lastly, Slack's going to be using Amazon's Chime platform, for their voice and video calling. So that's kind of Slack's weak point right now. Like the voice and video calling functionality is not quite what you would expect from something like Microsoft Teams or Google Chat. So they're going to up their game a little bit there. And all in all, they're really doing this to compete with Microsoft Teams, who's kind of encroaching on their space. If you haven't seen a Microsoft Teams commercial since you've been sitting at home and working from home, you must be not watching any TV, because that's the only commercial I'm pretty sure they've been airing for the last 4 months.
I haven't seen it.
Oh my gosh. How's this possible? I see it like at least 10 times a day.
Whoops.
So that's really all I wanted to say about that. I'm interested in seeing like which chat platform reigns superior at the end of the day. I mean, you and I use Discord to make this podcast happen, and I believe Discord is a great alternative to Slack, Microsoft Teams, Google Chat. It's just focused on gaming, but the capabilities and functionality that's built into Discord, I believe, is a little bit superior than Slack.
I think so too, man. I think it's better than Teams, honestly. In some ways, except for file sharing. That's the one thing that Teams has on this is file sharing, which is really great to have. But I haven't seen Slack, so I'm gonna have to check it out later. See what they got going on. Maybe it's another good option to choose from. Sir, I do want to talk about some VR news real quick. So OSU VR is a surgical training platform, and they've updated their program to have they quote, stunning levels of fidelity, which is supposed to increase the realism and immersion for those using the platform to train before performing surgery in real life, right? So the idea is they go in here, they perform a surgery in this virtual reality environment that gets them ready, that prepares them, and then they go and do it in the real life atmosphere. And they did this once already for a knee rod transplant. So I'm going to show this real quick. This is actually what they used before going and putting this knee rod in. So it's a little bit graphic, but it's animated, so it's not real. It's not real. Okay. So I just want to show this real quick. So let me pull it up.
My knee hurts already.
Oh no. All right.
This.
All right, so let me transition over so that you guys can see my desktop. Sorry for how it looks there for a second. And I'm actually going to turn the audio on. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Probably not. You probably don't need to hear the audio, but I'll just kind of walk you through this, right? So we're in a virtual reality environment right now. There's a lady laying on the table. She has a breathing tube in. OSU is plastered all over the place. You have your tools on this bench here. There's an X-ray looking at her knee. This is the graphic part. It's not that graphic. And so here's your avatar. Here's your avatar. Those are his hands.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, the graphics are quite insane though. Like this lady's like skin tone and the reflection of the shininess on her like leg and stuff. It's pretty intense.
Yeah, so that part right there was a little gross, but they're basically just showing you step by step what you should be doing as a doctor to make this all work out. I am so fascinated by this. I really am. This is real life application of virtual reality. Um,
Yeah,
so there you go, right there. That didn't look too complicated, I guess. I bet it's way more complicated in real life. There you have it, though. That's the future, right? You're gonna have folks that,
I could
what if,
definitely do knee surgery.
yeah. So what if at some point, like, it's like a robot, and you're like operating the robot through like a virtual machine, just to prevent any like human error. You're still operating the robot. You're the one pushing the buttons, but it's the machine that has an extremely steady arm and precise. Anyway, what do you think about it?
I think they have stuff like that already. Not to get too graphic, but I think I've seen like some videos on that in the past before, but not using VR. But I think that's awesome, man. Any kind of training that these folks can go through, obviously to get hands-on experience. I mean, I guess to this point they probably do this kind of training on like cadavers and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So this is great. I think real world applications for VR is just only going to increase funding for the platforms, for the hardware. It's going to make it cheaper and more and a lower barrier to entry for everyday consumers. So
Yeah.
I'm all about it.
And save people's lives. I mean, think
Yeah,
about it,
and
right?
why not export that to be a game that everyone can play so everybody knows how to do knee surgery?
Think about, you could be in college and you're going to be learning how to do surgery in a virtual reality atmosphere. That's an interesting, thought, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I want to see
Yeah, that's
more of
super
that.
cool.
I know we kind of sped through that, but we're coming to the top of our hour. So I want to transition
Yep,
again and let's just talk about some video games. You ready?
absolutely. Let's do
All
it.
right. Be right back, guys. Hey, welcome back.
Oh,
We are back.
hello.
Hello.
All right. Video game news.
Yeah, man. So Epic Game Store, not nearly as amazing as it's been in the past 2 weeks with GTA 5 and Civilization 6. They dropped
Borderlands.
Borderlands. Oh, jeez, how did I forget Borderlands? They dropped Overcooked on us. Overcooked, guys. Yeah, it's
Nice.
looks okay. You know,
That was me pretending to chop things.
chop things. Yeah. It's a $17 value for free. So I mean, come on, it's still free. Who am I here to sit and complain? I will take anything that you give me for free. It's amazing.
Yes.
So I've already got this game anyway.
Oh, you do? Oh no.
Yeah.
What a letdown. Just
Yeah.
kidding. No, that's awesome. I mean, it looks kind of fun. I mean, it says they just described it as like a couch sort of play, sit on the couch and kick back and kind of play this game. So if that's what you're into, looking for something to play with other people on the couch, that's cool. So yeah, check it out.
Check it out, guys. All right, man.
So in other news, if you are looking for some kind of a game that's a little bit more involved, a little bit more heavy on the graphics, intensive, Halo I don't know if you pronounce this. I guess it's Infinite, or it's not Infinity. There's not a Y. Infinite.
Infinite.
This is not a new announcement. It's set to release at the end of the year. If you guys haven't seen the trailers for that, we're not going to show it here. The trailers look pretty awesome. It's said to be the last of the traditional Halo sort of games, but another Halo project is rumored to be in the works by 343 Industries. But as I looked more into this, I thought it was still kind of funny to talk about. I looked more into this, and this was kind of plastered all over the game industry. I looked more into this, and I'm like, oh, okay, so we think that this game's coming out because there was a job post. And I'm like, all right, I can see where this is. They posted a job. Maybe they put some details in the job listing that, were a little bit too in-depth, and they shouldn't have done that. But I read through it. The job posting doesn't allude anything to a new game. It's just like it does mention Halo, but it doesn't mention anything about a new game coming out. You could be working on the DLC. You could be working on Halo Infinite. It's essentially like a project management sort of job or a producer sort of role. And it just got me thinking. I was like, man, this is what I was going back to the very top of our show. I was like, this is why you can never take things at face value. I would recommend highly to you guys, don't ever just read the headline as you're scrolling through Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. Don't just read the headline, form your opinion, and then move on. because I guarantee you there's more to it than what you just read. So the headlines made it sound like there's a new Halo game coming out, but reading more about it, it's like there's a job post that mentions Halo. So yeah, maybe there's a new Halo game coming out. Maybe. I don't know. Let's publish a story about it.
People
And
will
they
just
probably got
grasp
lots of,
onto whatever they can just for
oh
a
man,
story.
yeah. They just want some more, they just need some more clicks, man. So
Yeah,
anyways, I thought that was fun.
that's pretty cool. The last bit of information I have is the Steam Game Festival has been pushed back a week, so it was supposed to be this coming week, June 4th. I'm sorry, June 9th through the 14th. They're pushing it back to the following week, just based on everything that's been happening. They're just going to push it back out of respect. June 16th through the 22nd now. And so the event is basically a way for developers to spotlight or shine a spotlight on some games that are set to release later in the year. So it gives you guys a good chance to see those upcoming releases, try them out. There's going to be some demos, some, short playable experiences, give you guys to connect with developers to get some behind the scenes information. And you'll also be able to add the games to your wish list when the time comes for them to release, so you can pick them up at that point. So certainly recommend that out so you can see what's in the pipeline, to fulfill your gaming needs. Yeah, I'm going to be checking it out, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's great that they're being respectful and pushing it back if they have the opportunity to do that. So cool. Yeah, I'll definitely be checking that out as well.
All right. Well,
So
I think that's time for us to wrap up. So if I could just restate what you said at the beginning of the show, guys, we're trying really hard to grow and get better at what we're doing here and provide the information to you all as we receive it, and be entertaining as well while we do it, and create a nice atmosphere for learning and having a good time, and getting to know more about the things that we all enjoy. So it would be very helpful. We are 6 follows away from hitting affiliate on Twitch. I certainly want to get some help on that. So if you guys, like what you hear, grab hop on Twitch, give us a follow. Check us out on YouTube, subscribe, like the video, and make sure to subscribe or follow or whatever you got to do on your favorite podcast player. And we appreciate you guys listening. We appreciate you guys being here. We want to keep doing this because we love it. So, well, there's to it.
yeah, absolutely. I agree. And if I could just tag one thing on there, I would just say share this with a friend that you think might be interested. Share it with them and let them see what they think about us and give us all the feedback. We welcome all the feedback. So thank you guys.
Yep. And closing remarks is just stay safe out there, guys. Stay safe, educate. Do your best to be a positive role model in this world right now. And we look forward to having you guys listen again sometime soon. Next week, Friday.
Yes.
9 p.m.
Absolutely. See you guys then.
All right, guys. Peace.